Good evening and welcome to Sports Talk in the Burgh. I'm your host, Nate Kingston, and we have some lovely panelists to debate our topics today. We have semi-pro bowler and Philadelphia fan Sam Goldberg, a ride-or-die Vikings fanatic from the Pittsburgh area, Zach Jones, and all-time Pitt analyst with a great haircut, Kevin Palaucha. We have a great show for you today, so let's get right on to our first topic. Well, the World Cup going on in the United States and Iran faced off at a must-win situation for the U.S. yesterday. The U.S. came out aggressive and got off multiple shots on goal, but they did not score. That all changed in the 38th minute when Sergio Dest found Christian Pulisic with a perfectly timed pass, and Pulisic put it in the back of the net. Iran had a shot and a goal late on a free kick, but the U.S. would hold on, marking a 3 straight knockout stage appearances in their last 3 World Cup appearances. Sam, what was your reaction to this? I
must say that this whole experience for the United States, I feel like this does make up for the Turks and Caicos loss back in 2018, but I have to say, even though they made it out of the knockouts, I'm still really concerned with their play. I mean, drawing Wales, and I mean the draw to England was massive. Like that was pretty important, but you need to beat Wales, and then to only put up 1 goal against Iran, that's really concerning, considering they play Netherlands.
Iran was parking the bus against them. They were just complete. They only needed a draw to advance, so that's all they had played for. They were playing for the draw. They just put everyone on defense, and they tried to stop the goals, and that's why they didn't, it's kind of hard to get out of that mindset, so that's why Iran didn't win that game. But it's still a huge win for the U.S., and even though they just won by 1 goal, that's normal for soccer.
But also a counterpoint to that as well, seeing the set pieces, there was lack of creativity with the United States set pieces. It was just kind of kick it to the wing, and the wing would cross it in, and pray to God that somebody would get a head on it. It wasn't creative at all.
It did win, though. Yeah, it worked. They beat Iran. I mean, it was certainly hard fought. The entire group stage for the USA was very hard fought. They didn't give up any goals, and like you said, the draw to Wales was pretty bad, but they came back and drew against England, and they won against Iran. It was certainly hard fought, and I think it gives them a lot of momentum heading into their match against Netherlands on Saturday morning.
Yeah, I do agree that this men's team might not be playing to their full potential, but that's mainly just because they take their foot off the gas in the second half. They've done that pretty much every game.
Right. Maybe not that you should. You should always try and score when you can. But
yes, no, you should not take your foot off the gas.
There's a lot of chances that the U.S. had against Iran, and just really, and they couldn't finish, and they're going to need to finish those opportunities if they want to advance past the Netherlands.
Now, I completely agree with you guys. As not being a soccer fan for 8 years, I'm a true USA soccer fan after that win. Now, with the 2022 FIFA World Cup, has already seen some surprising results. On Wednesday, November 23rd, the Samurai Blue of Japan claimed a famous victory over one of the pre-tournament favorites, Germany. That came just a day after another of the favorites, Argentina, saw their 36-match unbeaten run come to an end at the hands of Saudi Arabia. The FIFA World Cup has seen many big upsets in its 92-year history, often involving countries that would be considered footballing minnows, scoring out an unexpected result against a powerhouse from the sport's traditional heartlands of Europe and South America. Zach, what was your best disappointment in the group stages?
So for me, it definitely has to be Germany. I mean, like Nick Kingston just said, Germany came out and they were the pre-tournament favorites. Maybe not favorites, but they were the favorites to make it far. Right. And they haven't won a single game yet. They lost to Japan, which was a shocker, probably one of the biggest upsets of this World Cup. And then they drew to Costa Rica, and they they drew to Spain. Yeah, and it was really close. They only narrowly got it in the end there. And now, being pre-tournament favorites, it's not even in their control whether or not they move on, because they need a win against Costa Rica, and they also need Japan to lose, which who knows if that's going to happen. So they could be knocked out in the group stage.
My disappointment, sorry to interrupt you, my disappointment was definitely Mexico. The team has been ultra consistent throughout the past World Cups, 7 straight round of 16 appearances before this year, and albeit they did lose every single round of 16 match they had, but at least they made it there. This year, they didn't. They beat Saudi Arabia, as Nate Kingston also mentioned. Saudi Arabia upset Argentina, but they beat Saudi Arabia 2-1 about an hour and a half ago, but they still didn't advance. So I think it's a massive disappointment that they could not even get back to the round of 16 for an 8th straight season.
No, I know that this is going to be a bit controversial, but yes, but I really do feel like that the United States was a bit of a disappointment. You have a young squad of great talent, and that talent really wasn't on display as much as it got hyped up to be, and there was just lack of creativeness on set pieces, the sloppiness on defense. I'll be honest, I don't know how they survived against England.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, and like we mentioned before, they definitely did come out flat against Wales, and that draw was a pretty big disappointment, I think.
Yeah,
so you do have a point there.
Even with that draw, I don't know how you can say that they've been the biggest disappointment when they held their own against England and they're moving on. Germany likely isn't, and
I
they
wouldn't say they held their own against England. England had a lot of opportunities.
0-0. What do you mean?
There was a lot of opportunities that they had to rely on Matt Turner.
They made sure England didn't take advantage of any of their opportunities either. Mexico isn't even making it, and it's a question mark as to whether Germany will or not. So it's hard to say if USA was the biggest disappointment.
All right, so guys, I agree with you on this because I had Germany going a long way, but they're done. So anyway, moving on to college. Wisconsin has hired Luke Fickell as its next football coach. Announced Sunday, Fickell led Cincinnati, the college, to the college football playoff last season and had gone 57 of 18 in his 6 years there. His 2021 Bearcats team went 13-0 before losing to Alabama in the playoff semifinals as the first group of 5 teams to reach the college football playoffs. The hiring of Fickell marks one of the most eye-opening moves of the college football carousel, with Wisconsin luring the country's top group of 5 coaches who brings vast experience in the Big Ten's Midwestern footprint. Although the question still remains, who will be the new head coach for Cincinnati? Kevin, who do you have?
Yeah, so with Wisconsin poaching Luke Fickell from Cincinnati, I'm going to go with Cincinnati poaching a top group of 5 other coach, and that's head coach, Coastal Carolina head coach Jamie Chadwell, 31-5 over his last 3 seasons, including 2 11-win seasons. They were as high as number 9 in the 2020 polls, and they're going to play for the Sun Belt Conference title this Saturday against Troy. I mean, what he's done in their 6 years, the last 3 seasons, but the entire 6 years that they have been in the FBS has been phenomenal, and I think it would be a home run of a hire if they went from Fickell to Chadwell.
Yeah, Jamie Chadwell is a great pick. I have to go with something a little out of left field. I'm saying Frank Reich. Everyone knows he just had a ugly breakup with the Colts where he'd be
really ugly.
Being replaced by someone with no experience in the college or NFL level.
Anyway.
But, he's great, and he was the OC for the Eagles Super Bowl run. Players really liked him. He had a good relationship with Wentz, at least in Philly. And, Cincinnati could be the place to regain some favor with some NFL teams.
Does he have any college coaching experience?
No,
Okay.
so he's going to dip his toes in right now.
And that's probably not going to happen. But somebody that does have a lot of college experience and really has turned the Jackson State University program around, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. I feel like I just saw something earlier today that he's going to be asked to fill that head coaching position at Cincinnati. I feel like he's proven that he can turn a program around like he did with Jackson State and really just head forth into a bigger conference, and then ultimately, I feel like he can end up in the SEC eventually. But first, he's going to end up with the Cincinnati job.
It's really strange seeing Coach Prime in any other sort of attire other than Jackson State.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to take that job, but I think it's definitely not going to be Coach Prime. Anyway, going over to the ice. Another NHL season is upon us, and as much as we all study up, monitor rosters, and assess outlooks in order to make our predictions and projections, no one really has an idea what's about to unfold in the next months. That unknown is exactly what makes the start of a fresh campaign so exciting. Overachievers and underperformers will emerge, led by breakouts and breakdowns. And it's fair to guess that more than a few coaches and GMs will find themselves on the hot seat over the course of the year. Sam, what do you think?
So, biggest surprise so far of the NHL season for me has got to be the Devils.
That's a safe pick, but
they had such a big turnaround from last year. I mean, this is a heck of a start from the Devils squad, and I don't know. Like they really look unbeatable right now. They only have 3 losses right now. They look really unbeatable.
Yeah, that winning streak was only undone by the Maple Leafs a few games ago, and they had 3 goals disallowed in that game.
Oh
so
my
the
gosh.
winning streak could certainly be going. For me, it's the Seattle Kraken, their 2nd year of existence. Although in their first year, they didn't exactly follow their predecessors in the Las Vegas Golden Knights with their Stanley Cup run. But they went 27, 49, and 6 in their first year. This year, they're 14, 5, and 3. They've won 11 of their last 13. Jared McCann with 10 goals, Jordan Eberle and Andre Burakovsky. They've been sort of the two assist leaders. Very unselfish team. They move the puck around very well. And I think they're making very big strides in their second season.
Yeah, so you guys both picked overperformers, and I'm going to go with an underperformer. I'm picking the Anaheim Ducks here. So they weren't the greatest last year, but they still were expected to take a big leap this year with one of the best young scorers in the league, Trevor Zegras. And they have the most goals allowed in the league this year, which last year they were 10th best in goals allowed. And they also 4th worst in goals scored. And like I just mentioned, they have Trevor Zegras. That shouldn't be an issue. And they are dead last in the league right now. They have the least points in the league, and I don't see that changing anytime soon, which is unfortunate because this was supposed to be an exciting young team.
Yeah, I agree with most of you guys on this, and I don't know about the Ducks. Going on to the NBA, after the Lakers practice on Tuesday, head coach Darvin Ham provided a brief update on LeBron James, saying the superstar had his ankle looked at after he appeared to injure it on a Monday night against the Indiana Pacers. James briefly left the 116-115 loss after landing on Tyrese Haliburton's foot during the first quarter, heading down the tunnel with his longtime trainer, Mike Mankus, to examine his leg before returning to get it stretched out on the bench and check back during the game during the second quarter. So the question arose, are the Lakers better without LeBron James? Because of this, Jay Williams from ESPN said, and I quote, "Let's stop acting like this team would be better without LeBron James. Can they increase their pace of the game or the fact that sometimes the ball dies in his hands? Yeah, but I'm never going to say a team's going to be better without LeBron James being on the court. That's just dumb. I'm uncomfortable saying they are better without the best players of his in a generation," end quote. So, Zach, what do you think about this?
I mean, I have to agree with Jay Williams here.
Yeah.
There has never been a team in the NBA in the history of the league that will ever be or has ever been better without LeBron James.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just LeBron James.
that's
sure.
just fact.
He's
Right.
37, but he's still putting up 25, 8, and 6. He's incredible. And yeah, it's not his fault that Anthony Davis plays so unbelievably passively whenever whenever he's on the court with him. It's just not his fault.
Yeah, it's never been his fault. Are the Lakers better without LeBron? No, they haven't been, and they never will be. Like you said, he's averaging 25 points per game. He's done that for
Pretty much every year
of his career. There's no reason that this team would be better without LeBron.
I definitely will say in LeBron's absence, I definitely feel like Russell Westbrook has definitely stepped up a little bit.
He has.
As has Davis.
Yeah, Davis as
Well,
well.
they kind of have to.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you're seeing unsung heroes like Matt Ryan and a couple of other guys on the Lakers squad.
Austin Reeves has been great.
Yeah. I mean, they're really stepping up without their leader, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's really showing that this team is coming together. And then when LeBron comes back, like they're trying to put the pieces together. And you know, I see, and with that, and with LeBron coming back, I feel like it'll gel a little bit more, and they'll be able to pick it up a little bit more.
Yeah, there are so many flaws on this Lakers team, and LeBron James is not one of them.
Yeah, I completely agree with Jay Williams on this one. It's not even a debate. Moving over to the NFL, the star wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. has yet to sign with a new team after becoming a Super Bowl champion with the LA Rams. He had suffered a game-ending injury of a torn ACL in that game, but is back to being healthy just without a team. Although there are many rumors to what team he will end up with. Sam, what is your take?
So I know I'm on producer Colby Sherwin's bad side, so that's why I'm going to say that Odell Beckham Jr. comes back to where he originally started his career with the New York Giants. I feel like he's been hinting at a return with the Giants, and I feel like the Giants just make sense because they need a wide receiver one. They have the running back in Saquon Barkley, but they just don't have that guy that wants to step up and be wide receiver one for the New York Giants.
Listen, it's hard to throw a lot of money at a guy that he definitely wants money. It's hard to throw a lot of money at a guy that's had a plethora of injury issues, and he's coming off of that torn ACL. That's why I said nowhere. I really don't know if there's any teams that are going to want to be willing to throw a bunch of money at him, especially after that whole plane incident from Friday. It was probably nothing, but all the drama that he's had with Baker and the Browns before he left there, is he almost turning into a little bit of an Antonio Brown where, sure, you'll sign him, but after 3 games, is he going to just be such a drama queen, and are you going to think that it's an immediate regret? That's why I'm not sure any teams are really going to want to pull the trigger. I'm serious.
I think it's pretty drastic to call Odell Beckham Jr. Antonio Brown.
Wow.
I'm not saying he is Antonio Brown, but he
Yikes.
definitely has some flashes of Antonio Brown in him.
All right, look,
Talent and drama-wise.
Yeah.
I think
Talent and drama-wise.
I think
there's
I think
no
he
way.
definitely goes somewhere. He has said he wants to go to a contender, and last
Okay.
year he proved he was willing to take a pay cut. And what better contender than the Kansas City Chiefs right now? They still have about $4 to $5 million in cap space. They have Mahomes, which is the best quarterback in the league, and their receivers are all right. But they could use someone else like OBJ, and what better quarterback to bring out his talent than Mahomes?
All right.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't know about the Chiefs, but I definitely know he's not going nowhere. Anyway, right after this, we have more NFL debates and some college sports, including RMU sports, right here on Sports Talk in the Burgh.
Chance high five. All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother and... I am totally a hot person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive.
Why?
My.
Oh.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Welcome back to Sports Talk in the Burgh. Like I said before, we got some NFL topics to go over, so let's start with that. After an 11-week suspension, Deshaun Watson is coming back to play his first game as a Brown. What are the chances that he will lead the Browns to the playoffs? Kevin, what do you think?
This would certainly be the case if they had won a couple of their early season matchups that they lost by just a couple points. They had 1 point loss to the Jets, 3 point loss to the Falcons, and 2 point loss to the Chargers. If they had won either 1 or 2 of those games, I would say yes,
Yeah.
but I'm going to go with no.
That Jets would.
They're already 4-7.
Yeah.
The Ravens and Bengals are both 7-4. They're both not going to lose 5 of 6. The Jets are also 7-4. They would need. There's a lot of teams ahead of them. They're going to need a lot of help. And if they, like I said, if they had won even just 1 or even 2 of those close games, then I would say sure, because Deshaun Watson is a much better quarterback than Jacoby
Question for you
Brissett.
guys: do you guys believe in miracles?
I mean,
Well,
not,
I don't.
not with
There's
this team.
literally no way.
say.
There's literally no way just that Deshaun Watson comes back and magically turns this team around.
No,
because
I will say there are games that they can certainly win.
Yeah.
Like Texans, Saints, Commanders, Steelers. I think they can
Yeah, they've
honestly
got-
win all those.
They've got a lighter schedule coming up here than
Yes.
they did in the earlier season, but they still have a 2%
late.
chance.
Yeah, I think it's
According to New York
yeah,
Times, they have a 2%
their
chance
chances are
to make
slim.
it.
Their chances are slim
Yeah,
to none.
they need to win out, and even then, I still think they need help with like tiebreakers and whatnot.
Right.
They're definitely not winning the NFC North, and I don't think they can squeeze into that wild card spot. The AFC is just too loaded. There are too many good teams.
There's also
Yeah.
so much uncertainty with how he's going to play as well because
Right,
he hasn't
'cause he
stepped on a
hasn't-
football field in
that's-
like over
that's
a
very
year.
true.
Another thing, Jacoby Brissett has looked fine.
Exactly.
This team is not just a quarterback away. There are
Right.
more flaws
Oh,
than just the
oh, yeah.
quarterback.
They-
So Deshaun Watson isn't going to magically fix the whole team and make them Super Bowl contenders. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Brissett isn't that bad. Going on to college football, there are 3 teams that are pretty much guaranteed to be in the playoffs. But who will take that 4th spot? What do you think, Zach?
Me personally, I got USC. I mean, they have the Heisman probably favorite, Heisman frontrunner, Caleb Williams right now.
Yeah.
He has looked fantastic. And they only have one loss of the season so far against Utah, and they're playing Utah later, so they have a chance to avenge that one loss. And on top of all that, they have one of the best wide receivers in college football, in Jordan Addison.
Yeah,
There is certainly
I
some
agree.
debate to be had. Honestly, I think there is some debate to be had about this fourth spot, even though USC looks like a lock. They did lose to Utah early in the season, but it was just by 1 point.
They're going to avenge it.
I think they will too, but let's say TCU gets upset by Kansas State.
Oh, then TCU. Then TCU
is TCU out, do you think?
I think TCU's out.
Would it be
because
they would take Ohio State over TCU?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
100%. I just feel like
I think right now it goes like USC would be 4. If USC loses, obviously they're out.
yeah.
If TCU loses, I think they're out too.
I feel like if 3 or 4 lose, they'll be out. But I feel like if 1 and 2 lose, I feel like they'll still.
I think
be 3 or
Georgia and
4.
Michigan are safely in.
Yeah. So
But
it's
if USC loses,
but
TCU's in regardless.
but if nobody loses in the top 4, then the top 4
yeah,
is just
top 4
the
will
same.
stay. It'll still be USC in my opinion.
I think
there was I think a couple weeks ago there was honestly a scenario where if there was some chaos, Michigan beat Illinois by 1 point, TCU beat Baylor by 1 point. If both of those teams would have lost, you might have even seen Alabama sneak back up into contention because they're right now number 6, I believe. There was definitely a scenario in which that could have happened. Thankfully, it didn't. So we don't have to see a 2-loss team in the playoffs. But to me, it's USC.
I was just about to say how the main takeaway from this conversation would be how Bama wasn't mentioned, and then Kevin Ploucher found a way to mention it.
Well, the committee always seems to find a way to mention Alabama, so I figured I would be the devil's advocate. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on into the college basketball world, onto RMU men's basketball, that is. The team has lost 3 straight in the past week. So what can they do, and what went wrong for them? What do you have, Zach?
I mean, yeah, those 3 games that they had, they all lost in different ways.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The biggest takeaway, the biggest consistent problem, I guess, would be that their shooting dipped off majorly in the second half. But against, I believe, Evansville? No, it was Mercer. They went 1 for 17 from 3.
Yeah.
They were leading in most metrics. But you cannot go 1 for 17 from 3 and win a basketball game. And even then, they kept it close.
The most consistent thing that the RMU men's basketball team has had is inconsistency. And that's the biggest problem. Inconsistent play by everyone not named Khalil Spear, Enoch Cheeks when he's healthy. And I guess you could throw Josh Corbett into that group because he hasn't been playing well. But having Enoch Cheeks out for those last 2 games has been bad. Michael Green III, his points over his last 4 games, 0, 19, 5, and 17. That's the definition of inconsistency. Jackson Last, 2 for 20 from the floor in that same stretch, that same 4-game stretch. And I think they could be utilizing Matt Mayers a little bit more. But it's just that there's definitely way too much inconsistency.
I also
this team to
I
be
also
successful.
feel like bench play really lacked in the 3 games as
Whoa,
well.
whoa, whoa. I have a stat.
Okay. Okay.
I believe it was, against the Evansville, RMU had 2 bench points.
Yeah.
The entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Entire game. 0 in the second half.
The bench play has been probably one of the most surprising things because there is a lot of
I was
talent.
gonna say,
there's a
there's-
lot of
there's-
talent on
yes.
this team.
Yeah.
Like there's guys that can score.
Yes.
It's just a matter of being able to do it
Right.
and being able to make the offense flow. It just seems like it's stale. It's pass to the wing, back to the center.
There's definitely way
Pick
too much
and roll.
talent.
It's not there. Bring it out to the court. Like it's so simplistic, the
Right.
offense that they run, and they just got to be a little bit more creative in ways to score the ball.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
this team just needs some help. I mean, South Alabama shot nearly 60% from the field. That's just not enough defense.
I agree they definitely need a little bit of change up. But when we come back, the panelists will discuss their final takes, and we'll go around to show right after this on Sports Talk in the Burgh.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Today, we face an unprecedented crisis. Tens of millions of refugees have been forced from their homes. But you can make a difference. Turn disruption and despair to hope and opportunity. Even small amounts make a big difference. Provide shelter, support, or jobs in your community. The more we understand, the greater sense of belonging we create. Act now. Visit supportcrisisrelief.org.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan.
Welcome back to Sports Talk in the Burgh. We're going to see what our guys have on these final takes. Go ahead, Zach.
So, with about a quarter of the NBA season over, players have had time to begin their claim for the Most Valuable Player award. And my pick for this year's honors has to be Jason Tatum. He is currently second in the Kia MVP ladder, behind only Luka Doncic. And sure, Luka's season has been fantastic, but Jason Tatum has something Luka and the Mavericks don't: team success. The Celtics are first in the East right now, winning 9 of their last 10, while the Mavs are 9th in the West. Jason Tatum isn't only leading this team to wins, though. He's putting up incredible stats all the while. 30.8 points per game with 7.7 boards and 4.5 assists on 48% shooting are sublime statistics for anyone to have. Pair that with the C's success, and Jason Tatum's MVP case seems rock solid as long as he can keep the production up.
So my final take is based around the whole women's sports. Earlier in the month, we saw some of the top women's college basketball talent compete in a conference room in Las Vegas. And the person that was leading the tournament, is well connected around the Las Vegas area and could have connections to put it in a bigger venue. I just feel like the fact that it was held in a conference room is just to display some of the top talent around in the nation. That's just kind of a disgrace to women's basketball, and just the sheer production value of it as well. Like it wasn't top quality. Women's sports deserves better. They deserve better in general. We're seeing the Women's Hockey League, the Federation. It's streamed on Twitch. Not many people know about Twitch. Yes, some games are streamed on ESPN Plus, but still, some people don't want to pay money to spend on ESPN Plus. All I'm saying is women's sports needs more coverage and bigger TV deals so that way they can be out there. Women's sports is truly incredible. It's action-packed. There needs to be more women's sports just floating through social media and our sports feeds.
It was announced earlier today that Pittsburgh Penguins defenseman Chris Letang suffered a stroke on Monday. Letang will be out indefinitely. Thankfully, Letang is not experiencing any lasting effects of the stroke and will continue to undergo a series of tests over the next week. The incident, thankfully, is not believed to be career-threatening. Unfortunately for Letang, this is not the first time this has happened during his Penguins career, as he previously suffered a stroke in 2014 and missed more than 2 months of the season. Letang said, quote, "It is important for me that my teammates, family, and the fans know that I am okay. I am optimistic that I will be back on the ice soon," end quote. While that is good to hear, Letang needs to take as much time as he needs to recover, and if a return to the ice isn't in the cards for this season or future seasons, there is no fan that will disrespect his decision. The most important part is that Letang is okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. Who do you guys think the NBA MVPs will be?
Big fan of Luka Doncic, and
he's number one.
There's definitely something to be said about team success compared to individual success. Now, I understand that Jason Tatum putting up those kinds of numbers on a team that is winning, on a team that is consistently, across the board dominating, is definitely more impressive than if it's just Luka Doncic. Compared to him scoring against like Tim Hardaway Jr. or whoever else is on the Mavericks roster. So I agree that Jason Tatum is definitely more impressive.
I really have a dark horse candidate for MVP. It's going to be from the Oklahoma City Thunder. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been putting up really good numbers. He's an absolute dark horse to win this.
Dark horse. That's a shadow of a horse, man.
I mean, he's putting up numbers. He's putting up close to 30 points per game.
He's putting up good numbers.
All right. Thank you for tuning in and watching Sports Talk in the Burgh this week. On behalf of our panelists and also our crew, I hope you have a great holiday season.